Right. In this video, we are going to discuss about the servlets. Right. Then from this point onwards, we are going to have a look at on how dynamic websites are working. Right. When we consider about the client server architecture, let's assume a static website. What are the main components? One end we have the client or the actual users of a particular website. Then another end we have the server. Inside the server, uh, for a static website, inside the server, the web content is already stored, like in HTML format or whatever the format, but whatever the file extension, the resources are stored inside the server side. Once you try to access to a website, what will do? You can make some request. Let's say you are going to access for a home page of a particular website. Let's say for the university website, then you can request that website through the internet connection, through a browser, through an internet connection. You can make a request. Let's say you are going to request the index page of a particular website, index.html. This request goes to the web server, then server accepts this request, and just looking at the storage inside the server, it selects the respective page and send this result to the client side as a response. This response includes this source page, right? This response includes this requested resource index.html, right? This is the idea of a static website. But when we talk about the dynamic website, the story is quite different because depending on the request or the type of this request or the situation, depending on the situation, the web content or the uh, items that are showing on the browser is changed, right? Then there are some additional components available in the server. Again, we have the client. This client machine could be a computer or a mobile phone or any other device that are accessible to the internet, right? Internet and a web browser, right? In this case, we have the client, and also another end, we have the server, right? This server is connected to a database. And the server can communicate with the database. We can fetch data or we can store data, right? Both sides, we can transfer data from server to database. Once the client requests for a particular website from the server, this request goes to the server. Goes to the server. Then there is a special application layer is available in the server side. We call it as web container. Inside the server, there's a special application layer is available. We call it as web container. Inside this web container, it includes two main files. Let's say one program, we call it as application, helper application. Another important file, we call it as deployment descriptor. Inside that, we have deployment descriptor. Right? Simply, the file is an XML file, web.xml file. Addition to that, we have different classes. Simple Java classes. We call them as servlets. Servlets. So you can have multiple number of servlets. Depending on the application, we have different number of servlets there, right? Once you make a request, this deployment descriptor or the web.xml file will take this request and filter out the uh, request URL, and depending on the requested URL, your request is redirected to the one of these available servlet. Let's say you are going to access, or you are going to get some data from after process from servlet 2, this web.xml file will redirect your request to the servlet 2. Then inside the servlet 2, the process will be executed, and if needs some data from database, it makes some queries, automatically it makes some queries and extract data or retrieve data from database, and depending based on that data, the response is created and again sent back to the client side as a response, right? This is the a simplest architecture of dynamic web environment, right? From this video, we are going to discuss about this deployment descriptor and this type of servlets. These are the key components we are going to discuss today, right? Hope you have got a bit idea, a bit background idea about this video, as well as what happened when we are working with dynamic environment in web. What happened when your request from your request a resource from a server. Your request is first goes to the web.xml file. It is inside the web container. Depending on the requested URL, your request will be redirected to one of the available servlet. Then your request will process inside the servlet and make some response, and again send back that response to the client side. This is the idea of web servlets, Java servlets. All right. Then we are going to discuss an actual example of web servlets. Here I'm using Eclipse IDE to do this task. Keep in mind, we have to use the Java EE edition or Java EE perspective of Eclipse when you are working with dynamic web projects. Then you can start a project. Click on this icon and go to other. Click here, you can search dynamic web project, right? Then it asks you to enter a name. I will give a name here, demo app. Then you have to set the target runtime. In the previous record or the previous video, I demonstrate you how to configure Apache Tomcat in Eclipse. Once you create, it will available in this option. Then you can select it. After that, you can click on finish. Once you created the project will be appear inside this left panel. Then it has some components. Once you expand this, you can see the Java classes will be available inside the source folder. Other required index.html file and other web.xml file will be available inside this web app folder, right? Web app directory. Right. First of all, let's try to design an interface, a simple interface. Actually, from this example, I'm going to do a simple exercise. I'm going to take two numbers as user inputs, right? As a form. The form will be showed to the client. Then I'm taking two numbers as user inputs. Then these numbers are sending to the backend or the server. Then using servlets, I'm going to add these two numbers and again show the results on the browser. This is a simple application of servlets, right? We can do the same thing using JavaScript as well. Using JavaScript, we can do this simple thing in front end as well, right? But for the demonstration, for the better understanding or giving you an introduction about the servlets, I'm using servlets to do this simple task, right? Let's try to understand what are the key idea of servlets. First, I'm going to create HTML file, index.html file to show the very first interface to the client, right? I'm clicking on this project and go to new, then select HTML. It is not available here. Then you can go to other, then you can see HTML. You can search HTML. Then you can give a name here. The index.html file is needed HTML, right? This is a basic HTML file. I can change this title as well. Whatever the title you can give. And then inside the body, you can place some form. This form is used to take or collect user inputs. Collect user input and send to the server side. I will keep this empty for now. This is a form. Then this form has two fields. First one is used to get first number and the second number and a submit button. Enter number one, then input field, input type, text, then name, number one. And I will keep line space or the break to get the second line. Here, number two. Type in a text, then the name, two, then line break, then a submit button, input again an input, type, submit, then value, submit, right? This is an interface. Let's try to run this one and see what is the interface and what it looks like. Right, you can right click on this application, your program or your project. Then you can select run as, then run on server. Then you can select Tomcat server, then click on finish. As you can see, the server is started and try to run our program. All right, as you can see, the form is printed here. There's a mistake, input. Okay, now it's fine, right? Now we have the interface. Then you can add some input some numbers, then you can click on submit, but nothing happened because we are not handling any process right now. Still, we are not processing any process anything, right? Okay, this is for the interface, user interface. You can see we have a form, input form to get two numbers, and we have a submit button. Actually, what happened when you are run this program, it started to execute this project inside the server. Then it finds index.html file somewhere in the folder structure, then the server can detect this index.html file as the root element to execute this program, and it will render this content to the user interface. That is what happened here, right? Now, once you click on this icon button, once you click on this button, this data should be sent to the backend. Once you click on this submit button, the data should be sent to the backend. You can see the URL is changed, right? URL is changed. This URL will be sent to the server side. Once you click on the submit button, this URL will be sent to the server side. From the server side, you have to catch these values and do some process. Then final result should be again sent back to the client side, client interface, right? Okay, what should be the process? It is add, right? Then the action should be add. You can give any name here, but for this purpose, I'm using the word add. Then if I save this and refresh the browser and try to add two numbers, insert two numbers and click submit. Now it gives it gives an error, and also you can see there's a word added to the URL with compared to the previous one. It's add. This add is comes from this. This add is comes from this, right? Then Tomcat server is given an error. It says 404 error. It means resource not found. Yes, actually we are not yet configured these resources. It say the requested resource is not available. Now the data are passed to the Tomcat server. Then Tomcat server is finding this URL pattern inside the folder structure or the web.xml file, as I explained before, right? But the server cannot identify this URL pattern available in the folder structure, then it gives an error. Let's try to implement the servlet to handle this task. Servlet is just a simple uh, program. It's just a simple class, Pojo class, but it extends HTTP servlet class. Now it's once you extend your Pojo class with HTTP servlet, it becomes a servlet, right? Next, try to create a class, Java class with a package, right? This package is needed for this type of applications, this type of what we call the web applications, right? This package name should be a unique one. Therefore, in most cases, we are using some domain names in reverse order. Domain name always a unique one. Therefore, we are using the domain name in reverse order. I'm going to use our domain name, lk.pdm.scs. The name I can say at servlet. You can give any name here. Actually, this is just a Pojo class, right? This is the Pojo class. Then you have to extend this class with HTTP servlet. Extends this class with HTTP servlet. This is from an external library. Then you have to import it, right? Now it's then once you click on this submit button, once you click on the submit button, the URL will be changed and your request comes to the server. Then how can server identify or how can server detect this servlet is the requested one? how can the server is identified? How can the server is directed this? As I mentioned here, once the request is comes to the server, then it goes to a specific file we call web.xml file. This web.xml file will uh, uh, redirect to the respective servlet. Then this web.xml file is the next important item for this example. And also in servlets, the web.xml file is the important one, the next important one, right? I'm going to create an XML file here inside the web.inf file. Inside the inf file, there should be the web.xml file. I'm going to create that. I can right click on this and go to next, sorry, new. Then again, I can filter out the XML file. Name should be web.xml. This is the web.xml file. Now you know about the HTML tags. Then you can create HTML tags here. Inside the web app, web app tags, we can place servlet tags and servlet mapping tags. We have servlet tags and servlet mapping tags. Servlet dash mapping. Inside that, we have a servlet name tag. We can give any name here. Then we have servlet class tag. Inside the servlet mapping tag, again, we have servlet name tag. Then we have servlet mapping tag. Sorry, URL pattern tag. URL pattern tag. The purpose of this servlet name is we can give any name here because in real world application we can have more than one servlets, right? Then we can give a name here. For this example, I'm using servlet one name in both cases. Servlet one has the name for the both cases. Here we have to specifically say what is the target class. Once the URL is matched, see the URL will be changed to /add. Then the data are available. /add means once you make that request with that URL pattern, the URL will map to this given servlet. From this name, the server will identify this given class, right? Both cases, the name is same. Your request is mapped to this URL pattern. Then from this taken this name. From this name, it identifies the target class or the servlet. Here we have to give the servlet name or the class name with the package name as well. I'm using this way. What is the package name? lk.pdn.scs. lk.pdn.scs. What is the class name at server? Right now, once the server hit this URL, it find out the name. From this name, it find out the target class. Right? Once you click on once you click on submit button, your request is comes here. Then select or find out the respective class. Then your request is goes to here. Then in servlets, we have a special function called service. Inside that, we have service function. It is an essential method, right? We cannot change the name. The name should be service. Then the service method will handle or cater your request. Let's try to create the function service, and this function is taken two inputs. First one is the HTTP request object, second one HTTP response object. With the request object, the data up, this entered data will be comes with the request object. Then the result, generated results will be sent back to the client side using the response object. Then I have to pass to object here, HTTP servlet request object, let's say RVQ, and HTTP servlet response object, RES. These are again some external libraries, then we have to import them. Right. Tomcat server will create actual object from these two classes. For now, we are creating these two objects as parameters for this function. Tomcat server is automatically generate these two functions and added this sending data to the object inside to the request object. Then inside that, I can extract data from this request object in this way. I have two variables, integer x and integer y. These two variables are used to store the data temporarily, two numbers. Then I can access this data using request dot get parameter. Get uh, parameter. Here I have to pass a string here. String means what parameter value we are using. In HTML form, we have the first data value with the name num1, second data value with the name num2. Then we can use these names. Num1 for the second one, num2, right? But this gives, but we are going to assign that to the integer variable, then we have to typecast. We have a function here, integer dot pass it, pass int. Then as the value parameter for this function, I can pass this object here. Same as here. Right? In this way, I can extract two numbers from this request. After that, I can perform the operation. I have another variable to hold the result. Total equals x plus y. Right? In usual way, what we do, in usually we are printing this data in the console. Here also let's try to do this one before sending back to the data to the client side. Just try to print the results on the console. System dot print system dot out dot print ln. You can say result is the total, right? Okay. Now let's try to execute this program. I will add two numbers 20 plus 30. 20 and 30 and click on submit. I have get an error. What is it? Why is the reason? The request resource demo app / add is not available. We'll see what will happen. Hola, good here. Okay, just try to run this program again. I re uh, rerun the server, restart the server. Okay, the server is restarted and then try to enter two numbers. Yes, again it shows an error. We will try to figure out the error. Okay, the problem is not with the code. The server is still having the previous code, right? That is the reason. It's better to stop the server and restart the server again. Then it will given the correct answer, right? Now the code is okay and the server is stopped. Now we are going to run this code on the server as a new process, right? Okay, the program is running without any doubt. Then you can enter two numbers here and you can click on submit. Then it not gives any results here, but not shows any error here as well. Then see the URL change / add question mark num1 equals 20 and num2 equals 30. Then you go back to the Eclipse, you can see the results is printed on the console. That what is meaning? What is mean by that? Your request is successfully comes here, then extracted this data num1 and num2 from the URL. See, num1 and num2 extracted data and do the operation and uh, print the results on the console. That is why you are getting this output on the console. This console output is not good for actual process. This console output is not good for actual process, right? For an actual application, this result should be shown inside the client side because clients are requesting some information from the website. Then you have to return the results to the browser. Then you can do several ways. For this example, I'm using a print writer object to do this task. First, I have to create a print writer object. Print writer object, and using response object, we can send this data. Using response object, you can send this data back to the client side. Response dot get the writer. This throws an exception. Before we have to import this library, and this throws an exception. Then you can throw this exception from this method, or you can handle it by using try catch block. For now, I'm throwing this exception from this method, right? Then using this out object, or you can attach these results, calculated results to this out object. Out dot print. I can say again results, and you can append the results here, right? Then I'm saving this and go back to the browser and refresh. We'll add in enter two numbers here. Then click on submit. We can get the results. Actually, what happened here when I explain this process with a diagram? What happened? We have the form in the front end or the client side. We are collecting two numbers using a form. Two numbers, number 1 and number 2. Once you click on the submit button, this number and number one and number two is goes to the server side with the request. This request includes n1 equals a number, n2 equals a number. Inside the server, we have the web container. Inside that, we have the web.xml file. Then this request is directly go to the web.xml file, and with this request, it comes with add URL pattern. Using this URL pattern, this web.xml file is forward your request towards the servlet. For this, now we have only one servlet. This request is forward towards to the servlet. Then servlet will execute the service function. Inside the service function, we are extracting this information and this information, two numbers, and produce the total. Then using the print write object and the response object, we can send this data again back to the client side. Then in the client browser, the results are shown as this, right? Then this is the very simple example of web servlets, right? We can go deep into the future videos. For this video, this is the key component, the key idea, right? You can go through this, and I will share this code with you through the LMS. Then you can try some by adding some few more items to the this form and try to do a new thing or one more advanced thing to get a better understanding about this concept, servlet concept.